I'm Grace Kaloje with Chicago Title, and I'm reaching out to wish you a happy Mother's Day.
I'm Jennifer Lamel Goldstone, a real estate attorney and owner of my own law firm, Horwich, Goldstone and Shaw, and mother of two.
I'm Emily Kresse Williams, owner of the Kresse Group, a boutique real estate law firm, and I have one 10-month-old daughter.
What time does your day really start, and what does it look like before you even log in for the day?
Well, I'm an early riser, and from a very young age of having children, I started getting up around 5:30 in the morning. I usually check my email, have my cup of coffee, so I'm ready to start my day, and then I take a break, and I go on a run or work out, and then I really sit down and start my day around 8 o'clock.
And I would say probably the same thing. With a 10-month-old right now, she's pretty much dictating when I wake up. If by chance she's still sleeping and I get up at 5 on my own, I spend a little bit of time just going through the news, social media, checking my email, just kind of easing into the day a little bit that way. And then I get up and get going, coffee as well, and then get my day started probably around the same time too, 8 o'clock maybe.
How are you able to juggle kid drop-offs, client calls, court dates, all in one day?
You have to be really, really organized. And if you're not organized, the whole day is shot. I find that meal prep in advance, making lunches, making my own salads, helps a lot. But there's always a curveball in there. So another reason why I try not to take client calls till after 8, so I can get through all of that.
I think I went into owning my own business because I've always been pretty good with time management. Even back when I was in middle school, high school, it was always my goal to not have to take any books home. So I would do all of my homework in passing periods, studying hall, things of that nature. And that's kind of how I am today. I'm very efficient with my time. I use every spare moment down to the minute as far as figuring out when the best time to send emails is, turning review letters, have phone calls. The phone calls from clients, you can't control, when those pop in, so you just do your best to accommodate those. I think what our clients probably value about us is that they can get us personally most any time, so it's always important to make time for that.
When do you both find time for yourself, and what do you like to do? Do you have any hobbies?
So my biggest hobby is running. I've run 3 full marathons and probably been doing 2 or 3 half marathons for the last 10 or 12 years. My biggest excitement was in November. My daughter ran her first marathon with me. We went to Madison and we ran the marathon together, so I feel really good about having set that example, and they have taken it to a whole nother level. So
I would say, other than trashy TV, reality television, which is my guilty pleasure, my biggest hobby, which fits into my life right now, is cooking. I love to cook, and I have a 10-month-old who's now starting to eat everything that I'm eating, so I'm having a lot of fun preparing healthy meals for her that kind of fit in with what I'm already shopping for me and my husband, and cooking our meals. So that's probably one of my biggest hobbies right now.
So when COVID hit 5 years ago, both of my kids were in high school, and my kids played travel sports, so we rarely sat down at a table, the 4 of us, to have dinner. And there are a lot of books and to-do and parenting suggestions out there. So one of them is a checklist of all the things you need to teach your kid before he goes to college. And my son was a senior, and we hadn't taught him to cook. And then COVID hit, and we, every day at 6 p.m., met as a family, cooked dinner as a family, and during the shelter in place, we did that. And so I feel really good about that. At the end of the shelter in place, we were like, okay, we hit the checklist. Yeah. Now he knows how to boil eggs and make pasta.
Do you ever feel mom guilt when work demands spill into home life, and how do you manage that guilt?
So I definitely feel mom guilt, especially when you see a lot of stay-at-home moms getting to be at their kids' school and their programs. So much that when my son was younger, there was a holiday performance, and I kept him home from school because I knew I had a full day of closings, and I didn't want him to be the only one without a mom there. And I always remembered that, and I always felt guilty that I did that to my son. He didn't know because he was like 6, but it was one of those moments where he could go to school and not have a parent there or stay at home, and I kept him home.
I think the mom guilt thing is something we put on ourselves more than anything else. Just like you were saying with your son, he didn't know what was going on. My daughter's 10 months old. She doesn't know any different. So I have guilt sometimes when I feel like I've let her play a little bit too long on her own and not had that engagement. But I think with anything in life, it's perspective. She's luckier than 99.9% of kids out there. She has 2 parents that absolutely adore her and love her, and she's going to see her mom working and owning her own company and making a living and setting a good example for her. So there's balance in all of it.
Have your kids ever interrupted a Zoom call or a meeting, and how did you handle it? What did you do? What did they do?
I saw this question obviously in advance, and I the first story that came to mind was my son was about 2, and I'm dating myself because this is pre-Zoom. This was good old-fashioned phone calls. I was on the phone in my home office, and my 2-year-old wanted my attention. My nanny had left for the day, and I just shut the office door, and he just sat there and banged at the door for a good 45 minutes. Not Mom of the Year award that day, but he just screamed. I hung up the phone, and then I was able to give him attention. So it happens. It still happens. My kids are 20 and 22 now, and they still interrupt my Zoom calls.
So surprisingly, it's less my 10-month-old daughter that I have to worry about than my husband, who works from home. And so I've taken to having to announce very loudly, I'm getting on a call with a client right now. Please stay in the back or stay in the other room, because if he hears me talking, he just assumes I'm talking to him. So he'll say, what'd you say? What are you asking me? And I'm on a call with a client, so I can't answer him. So, there's just a little bit of preparation now that has to go into that, because I've only been married for a couple years now. Well, with my husband for a couple years now, married for 1. And so it's all new for me. I had my own firm since 2016, and it was just me, and it was quiet, and I could take any call that I wanted to at any time. So now it's just everybody's adjusting to each other's workloads and when we need some space. And if I have her and she's around, I'm just upfront and honest with my clients. I'll just say, I'm sorry, I'm actually home right now. My daughter's here. If you hear anything in the background, it's her. And I think post-COVID, people are so much more understanding about different work scenarios, so it hasn't really been too big of an issue.
What is one thing in your daily routine that you cannot go without? What's the single thing that makes your entire day?
Coffee.
Coffee.
What's one thing you had to let go of to keep the balance?
This question is hard. I think friendships. There are some friendships that I lost because I am always super busy. My kids were my priority, and I wasn't able to always meet people for lunch or dinner because my work demands came first and my family came second, and friends were kind of the last priority. And I've managed to keep a lot of very close friends over the years, but I think that's the hardest thing.
I would say just my own personal free time is what I've had to give up. So whether that is dinners or lunches with friends or getting to binge watch a show that I like or anything of that nature, there's just a lot less free time because of now being married and having a child. So anytime there's free time, you kind of have to then make up for the time that you didn't get to spend with your kid or your spouse. Just kind of rearrange everything to make up for that lost time. So just a little bit less of the free time, but that's okay. I had a lot of years of that, before.
What is one piece of advice that you would give to a new attorney mom just starting out?
I think really the most important thing is balance. You need to figure out what works for you. When I started as a young lawyer, my dad said to me, I don't care how long you work. I know you're going to work a lot of hours. Leave it at the office. Don't bring it home. Of course, I'm dating myself again because I had a BlackBerry back then and people left their office. But now with smartphones, it's really, really hard. And so you have to really set your own boundaries. I set boundaries by not taking calls in the evening so I can be attentive to my family. I don't take a lot of client calls over the weekends. I will speak to realtors or mortgage brokers that have questions, but more people that know me better so that they understand I'm doing things with my family and taking their calls versus a client who expects you to be full attention. So I think the work-life balance is really, really important, and it's really, really hard. That would be my one, and I've stuck to it pretty well.
I kind of have just a slightly different outlook on it in that this is all I've ever known since I started my firm in 2016. We've always had smartphones and easy access to our clients. And I think it kind of works to my benefit in that I can take my daughter to that class in the middle of the day, because if there's a few minutes where we're waiting or we're in the car or something of that nature, not driving, of course, parked in the car, I can check emails or I can take a phone call. So I just think it's a double-sided coin with technology, but there's a lot more flexibility to be able to then, once she's in bed, answer the emails at night. And sometimes it works to your benefit, because then clients are like, wow, my attorney emailed me back at 8 o'clock at night. She's working 24/7, when really it's just that you are able to kind of be flexible throughout the entire day. So it kind of opens you up more from that just traditional 9 to 5, which I think in our industry actually can work to your benefit. The advice that I would give to a new mom attorney is just to remain flexible, lean into the fact that the way our industry is structured now with smart technologies is that you can kind of have it all in a different way than maybe you couldn't before when you were really stuck to a desk in order to do your work. So just lean into the fact that you can be flexible with answering emails, taking phone calls, even text messages to clients and realtors to keep everybody abreast of what's going on. Use that to your advantage and make your day a little bit more flexible so that you can kind of fit everything in a way that works for you so that you can do it all.